Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Today we have a teardown of this. Does anyone recognise it? What this is this is a VHS player. There's actually a VHS in there, so I'll hopefully be able to get that out during this teardown. But what VHSs were they were basically a form of storage for storing media such as films or movies or whatever you want to call them. Anyway, let's not hold up and let's get straight into the teardown. So the first thing is its name. This is a Sharp VC-MH75 PAL EP recording and playback VHS high quality VHS player. And it features these features. So we've got 6 head, we've got a NIC cam and a hi-fi stereo. 1 minute rewind, 1 minute rewind. Well, actually the rewind time depended on how long the VHS was inside it. Anyway, let's get into it. Right, so it just features, well, for the moment it just features the screws that I can unscrew with this screwdriver. So I'll just turn it around, and then there's information regarding the regarding the VHS player itself, and here are the ports. So we've got 2 SCARTs, we've got an audio out, what do they call those? What do they call those? Forgot what they call those connectors, but we've got some of those. Then we've got the aerial antenna in and aerial antenna out, which is like used for if you wanted to record something on TV. You need the antenna coming from the wall into this and then out from this into the TV, and that way you will be able to record what the TV is playing, like if you wanted to record a TV program or a film or something. Net services such as Netflix and stuff. Oh, so there's the top metal shrouding. So here we have the VHS, and yeah, I might need to power it on in order to get that out. Right, I'm going to go and power it on. I know the lighting isn't the best in its current location, but at least I've got it. So now it's going to turn the power on, and now it's turned on. Don't know if you saw that, it just like took the slack off the tape so it will properly go over the headers. And then if we press the eject button, which is there, it will do its thing. And that is how VHSs were ejected. See how there's all the complex mechanisms and stuff? VHSs. And yes, this is Casper the Friendly Ghost. This was my VHS player when I was younger, and quite clearly I'd watched Casper and forgot to take it out. As you can see, VHS tapes do actually run on a reel, and they are literally a tape. It's the same as a tape, it's just bigger. And as you can see here, you can see most of the tape is on the right hand side of the VHS, and usually, well not usually, always that meant that if the tape was on the right, like you can see the minimal amount of tape on the left there, and it's just like all the tapes there, that means that the film is at its end, the credits are rolling, and you would need to rewind the tape, literally rewind all of that back over to the left here in order to watch the movie from the start. And because I've got it open and on the floor down there, I'll actually show you the rewind feature if you want me to. Oh, I forgot, it's actually playing the tape at the moment. I forgot that when you put VHSs in, they automatically play. Where's the stop button? Stop. There we go, so now as you can see it has stopped. Now pay close attention to the reels. So now if I just go and rewind it, if you press the rewind button once it's calculated its thing, unless that button doesn't work. Right, so now it's in standby mode. There we go. Now as you can see, the reel is winding back That's the slow rewind speed. If I press it again, it should speed up, unless the video is already playing, in which case it won't speed up, because while a VHS is playing, there's a certain speed that it needs to rewind at. So it looks like it's just calculating the faster speed. There we go. Full speed rewind. It slows down automatically when it's getting near the start of the tape, therefore it doesn't rip it. And then it goes slowly until it stops completely, and that is the tape round back, right to the start. Round back, rewound back to the start. So we'll just let it do that. Slowing it down now. And now you can see all the headers and stuff up here where it's all red and computerized and stuff, and then sent out the back through a SCART cable. Okay, we're nearly there. Right, there we go. There we go. There's the tape fully rewound. So now, if we eject the tape now, then as you can see when I just zoom the camera out, all of the film or reel or that tape thing, whatever you want to call it, is on the left, which means, well, the film's rewound back to the start, so when you put it in, it will start playing. And that is how you get a movie from the end to the start with a VHS. It's not as simple as just clicking stop or next scene or previous scene as it is with DVDs or Blu-rays. You actually had to do what I just did there. And I'm sure there's something in there. There's got to be something in there. Can you hear that? A newly manufactured VHS did not have that like rattling noise. There's actually something broken inside it, and I just saw it then, but I can't get it to show. But anyway, so now if we want to watch the VHS, we just simply push it in like that, and then it will stop playing automatically, as you can see. And then, you know, like all the trailers and stuff before the films, we would need to fast forward through those. Is it calculating or... Well, there we go. So yeah, we need to do this and fast forward through all the advertisements and stuff like that, but I'm fine with that at the moment, so let's just stop it and eject it. So that is the basic workings of a VHS player and VHS. So now what I'm going to do is unplug this, take it back to the box and continue the teardown of it. This is all very complicated. So I hope you enjoyed that. That's the basic workings of how a VHS player works. And now I shall continue with the teardown once it picks up my screwdriver from down there. So now I'm going to take this front plastic bit off. So if you grew up in the early 2000s, like I did, this would be your DVD player. But it would actually be a VHS player. And yes, we did have to go through all the troubles of like rewinding and fast forwarding and all that stuff, unless you were fairly wealthy and got a DVD player when they first came out. But like a lot later on, they started selling like DVD players internationally, and then you just bought a DVD player. But you would always keep your VHS player because you would have had lots of VHS films and you didn't want to buy them all again on DVD players, only to be like unknown to this at the time, but sooner or later all of those DVDs that you bought to replace your VHSs, you'd need to replace them all with Blu-rays. But at the time of DVDs being invented, Blu-rays weren't a thing, obviously, or I hope it's obvious. Yes, but it's not unclipping. Oh, there we go. So there is the front of the VHS player. So you've got all the buttons and this VHS flap and stuff like that on the front of it. And then in here you have all of the working. Is that even in shot? I'm not sure because it's quite big, so I've got the camera higher up than usual, so I can't really see the screen. There's the power cable, simple enough, just a little plug-in thing. And now I'm going to take this out. This is the back control units where everything plugged into the SCART lead, antenna, component, or composite or whatever it was. Remove this PCB once I've unclipped it. Okay, maybe not, it doesn't want to unclip. Maybe that screw there has something to do with it. There's those out and it still doesn't want to come out. So this is the SCART bit where all the, or where the SCART cable's plugged in. So yeah, that's what SCART cables look like. What SCART cables were, they were basically the old-fashioned standard definition version of the HDMI cable. They transmitted both a audio and video signal through them, and they were only in standard definition. And yeah, which standard definition, depending on where you lived, was either 480 or 576, I believe. I think the NTFC ran at 480p, and the PAL versions, which is what this is, ran at 576i, I believe. I standing for interlaced. So yeah, there's a SCART cable. It's actually like all of these on the back, like all of the pins. It's quite interesting. Well, I think it is anyway. So just put that over to one side. Here's a little ribbon cable. They might be coated in silver or something, but I'm not sure, so I'm just going to say that they're like aluminium connectors. Now what I'm going to do is take the motherboard out, because then I'll be able to get rid of all this casing and stuff. Okay, so another change of plans is, you see all of this bit here where you put the VHS in and it reads it all on this reel and stuff. I'm going to try and remove that, but I don't know where the screw. I know there's a screw there. That looks like it's a screw that holds it in place. Then I don't know where all the other screws are. Oops. So that's one of the ones that I took out of the motherboard, and they're the two out of all of this assembly. And now if we just wiggle it out, here is the VHS. Oh, it's got all grease on it. Or lubricant. It's not actually grease. Well, it is grease. It is greasy, but it's not like grease from, I don't know, bacon or something. It's not cooking oil. Or bacon fat. Bacon grease. So what we have here is the underneath workings of how the VHS worked. So as you can see, we've got that, and judging by the, so that's either a step up or step down speed thingy because of the size difference in the wheels, and we've got that bit there which doesn't actually power on because you need to get power to it, and then we've got this bit there that spins. I know this is a teardown video, but I'm not going to go and take every single screw off because, well, that would just be a nightmare. So yeah, this is like the inner workings bit of the VHS player. It was powered on. For example, you can't turn this motor unless there's power going to it. Is there like a brake somewhere? Isn't it? I noticed that was raising up and lowering down, but then again that won't lower down because that bit's in the way. And because that bit's in the way, it means you can't get to that because that bit is the actual motor that turns that bit. So no, you need to plug it in order to deal with all the motors and stuff. But yes, can you see those two that one and that one, those like weird black reel type things, they actually seated in the back of these on the VHS player, which as you can see is just the center of the VHS, well, the center of each VHS reel, and that is what would be used in order to either fast forward or rewind VHS tape. Now I'm going to remove the motherboard. Are there any more screws over here? Let's get that out of there. Unhook that bit from around there, and then there is the VHS casing. And this is the VHS board itself. Were you zoomed in for that? Oh well, you'll have to deal with it. I'm not putting it back in just to take it back out again. So this is the motherboard on the VHS player. There's that bit. I don't know what part that bit plays. It's also that bit, which is like where all the I/O stuff was. We have this bit here, which, does this just pull off somehow? Yeah. Oh, it does just pull off. Right, well this is a little thing with a chip on it, and I don't even know if you've focused on it, because I know this camera takes a while to focus. So here is the little circuit board with a single chip on it that was on the left there. So that's that. I don't know what role that played in making a VHS play work. We've got another one down here, which as you can see is just for the buttons on the right hand side of the VHS player's front panel, which would be those four, I presume. Yes, it would be. So that would go in there, something like that, and then the buttons would work. I mean, now they don't because I took it apart. Next on the motherboard, oh, I found a turny thing. I actually don't know what that does. Like with all my other teardowns, I'm not going to remove bits that are soldered to the board. Here is the back of the motherboard with a shiny bit and a serial number that's actually upside down. M4594. So this is the back of the motherboard. There's two chips. I don't know what role they play. The larger of the two says something. I think that's upside down. And then there's that one there. So there is the back of the motherboard, and this is the front of the motherboard. Hang on, no, this is the top of the motherboard. Here is the little screen that you saw flash up at the start that said Program 1 and stuff. And what I found quite interesting is that this motherboard has like soldering, well not soldering, wire going across it. Like they've actually made physical traces that you can see, instead of having them all compacted into the board itself like those ones. I think that's quite interesting. Can we remove this bit? Judging by the look underneath it, no we can't. So all we can do is just look at that bit. That's the antenna bit. So there is the motherboard. Now I'm going to do a teardown of this bit. Is that distracting you? I'm going to start by removing these plastic bits and stuff from the top here. I hope it doesn't sound like I'm sat in a tornado now. But if you can hear anything in the background, it's the fan that I've turned on and opened the window. Right, so they're both off. Now I just need to wiggle it about. Ah, that's why, because there's that bit there. There we go. There we go. So this is where the VHS would sit inside of. Like that. When it's waiting for a VHS to be plugged in, it would sit like that, and then when you push the VHS into it, it would like lock itself in and move forwards and slip down onto this lower ledge, which would then all align it with all of these bits and all of these bits and around that bit, well, around that bit like that, and all of these bits would then be in the correct place, and then they'd all move however they're supposed to move, and they would end up reading the tape that is in there, which I can't actually get to because, well, it's plugged in. It's plugged in, it's inserted. So let's eject it and then show you the tape. So yes, it is all wrinkled, and I'll be throwing it away after this video anyway. So this is the tape that would interact with all of these bits, and these bits would end up transmitting whatever's written on there into video and audio, which can then be played through the the VHS player, and it would send the signal back to your TV as sound and video, and that was how you would watch videos. Now if you do have a working VHS and you do want it, don't even touch this bit. It's probably best that you don't even open this bit up, but never pull it out like that, because no way that's going to work now. Never mind, I'll throw it away after this. Anyway, I want to take this wheel thing. This is intriguing, like that, and then I can take this bit off here. Right, so if I just pull that bit off, this looks like the inner workings of a motor of some type. Into focus. There we go. And this would, can I get this PCB off it? I could do, but that sat stationary in there while this bit turned around it. Oh, hang on, now I'm guessing that this looks like the inner workings of a motor. Yeah, there's a magnet on there, look. This is essentially a motor. So that would sit in there, the correct amount of power or whatever would be sent through this cable, and it would be like outputted, however it's outputted from this, into this real thing, and then that real thing would begin to spin. Like that, and that is where it would read the data of the VHS tape that I just showed you. I think, anyway. Okay, that tiny little spring thing just fell out, and I don't know where it came from, so that fell out. I would like to take this bit off. Now, is that possible? It is possible. Look at that, we've only got ourselves some more screws. So here is the header, or what I think is the header. So yeah, somehow the tape would run over this, and this would then read the data that's on the tape, and well, then convert it, then transmit it into audio and video data that would be sent out to the TV for you to watch. Oh, I can even take this down even further. Take it down, tear it down. You know what? Let's do that, because like I said, all of this, I think I'm going to leave that how it is, except that bit, I'll take that bit off, but all of this, I'm going to leave it how it is. Now I've got down to the smaller bits of the VHS player, I've lowered the camera down to back where it normally is when I'm recording a teardown video. Now I just need to get this secondary screw out, and then I can take that bit off, which is just a magnet bit in which that bit like sat, and then it span around. Of course, all of this would have been attached to this axis and that like stable bit in there, so it would have span nice and freely. That still spins really smooth, which is good, I guess. Quality engineering. Right, so that's as far as I can tear this bit down by using screwdrivers, so that's where I shall leave that bit. So yeah, that's the header, I think it is, and there's this little motor contraption that made it all spin. I'm not tearing it down in any specific order, I'm just taking off screws that I can see. Problem solved. So we've got that little tiny thing, which I'm not actually sure what that is, but we've got that. Now I need to figure out how to take this bit off. Oh, I don't even, oh, it's clipped in. Right, there we go. I can just undo that clip and then undo. Hang on, this isn't working. Good old trusty pliers came in handy when it came to bending this metal. So now all I need to do is unclip that little clip there, and then pull that bit up. And now this is one of the rollers that the tape rolled over when it was being played. And now this bit should just... So here is another motor contraption which moved a part of a cog which then linked into another cog and then another one, and it just... Right, there are 3 screws there and there's a motor there. So I think that will be the last thing I'll look at because everything else appears to be riveted in. So we've got a little bracket type thing there, I'm not sure what role that played. And then we've got this motor here which does look... which that spinned, it did have this band on there. That band then connected to that reel there. And well, I showed you that bit earlier, so yeah. And now we have this contraption here. I don't think I'll be able to get it off. No, I probably won't. Anyway, this is the final motor we've got. There is another screw on there, but I don't think I'll be able to... Am I bleeding? Oh, I'm bleeding! Why do I always end up bleeding on these teardown videos? Anyway, this is the one of the motors that's sort of covered in blood now, because I'm bleeding and never even noticed. And I think this was where I was going to end it anyway, so... That has been the teardown of the VHS player. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you in the next video. And I'll go and clean this up now. Update, I found a fix for my thumb. I put a plaster on it.